Hey guys, RPM here. Hope you're all doing well and having a really great day. In this video, I am wanting to talk with you all regarding power supplies for GPU mining. And I just want to give you guys my experience I've had for the past couple years now with a bunch of different power supplies, and I just want to talk about which ones that I like the most. Not necessarily the best, but you know, the ones that I like the most. And so that's going to be based on my experience. It's hard to really say which power supply is the best, but I can overall give some insight into power supplies that have had good uptime and potentially ones that don't fail a lot. And I know that I can just say that statistically I don't have thousands, of these HP Server PSUs or thousands of, these 2000 watt Thermaltakes. So that's going to be pretty much based on my experience with just a set few of power supplies. So take that information today with a grain of salt. Hopefully you guys can relate with some of the power supplies that maybe you guys have used when I talk about it in this video. So anyways, I want to start off by mentioning I am going to do a giveaway on a power supply. I don't know which one yet. I'm just going to randomly choose one near the middle of this video, and I'll tell you guys how to participate in that giveaway. Okay, so let's begin. I'm gonna split up the power supplies into like 3 different categories. It's gonna be like regular consumer ATX power supplies, and then I got the Alibaba, Aliexpress style power supplies, and then the third one is gonna be the HP server style power supplies. Let's talk about the ATX power supplies first, as these are probably the most popular power supplies for GPU mining. And I'm gonna say that the best ones, I'm gonna start off with the best one that I think that I like the most is gonna be the EVGA P2 series. Now the notorious one that I've used a lot is the 1200 watt P2, not the 1000 watt here. This is just an extra one that I had. But for example, I am currently using 1200 watt P2 on 6 of my 1060s here. And so it's been rock solid. I have a few more of these 1200 watt power supplies in other builds, and these have been the best ATX power supplies in my experience, okay? EVGA, I think, has one of the best ATX power supplies in the world. I think a lot of you guys can attest to that as well. They also have the G2 series, but to be honest, I've had bad experience with the G2 series, okay? I have a G3 series here, which is dead, and I think both of these 1300 watt EVGAs are also dead as well. Nothing has burnt. I actually got these used off eBay, and they worked for like maybe less than a couple weeks, and then they died. So good thing though, they do have 10-year warranty, but I didn't have the receipt, the original receipt, because I bought these used, so I wasn't able to RMA these. One more G2 1300 watt, which is still running in a mining rig right now, and yeah, that's been fine. But so statistically, I think I've had bad luck with the G2s, and I don't know if you guys have had similar ones as well. Next, I have the Corsair 850 watts, or any Corsair power supply. To be honest, I've had good and bad experience with the Corsair ATX power supplies. The 850 watts I used a lot back then, and I didn't have much issues, but I have one here that died after a power outage. But overall, I'm gonna say the Corsair power supplies are great. I've had their HX series as well. I don't have an HX one here, but the RM series X ones are really good, along with the EVGA P2 series in my experience. Now, I don't have much experience with the European branded, this is a Kolink Continuum 1200 watt. I only have one, and so far it's been really great. I also have the LEDX2. This is a Superflower one. I believe EVGA manufacturing is from Superflower. So these are really good for mining. Now recently, you guys saw that I had a 3080 rig that died. It wasn't all the GPUs, it was a power supply that died. And this is a Seasonic 1300 watt power supply right here. This guy right here, Seasonic Prime. 1300 watt, and it died. The other one is fine, but you guys saw me test this in that video where I used the paperclip method. I tested on 120, I tested on 240, and the power supply just doesn't turn on. So it was running continuously for about a year, and then it died. So I don't know if I'm unlucky. I don't know if Seasonic is a bad power supply company for, you know, for mining, for ATX power supplies. So that's just my little experience there. Let me know if you guys have had issues with Seasonic. And then I got these 450 watt power supplies. These were for when I was combining server power supplies, like these HP 1200 watt or 750 watt power supplies. I was using these in conjunction with a 450 watt, because back then the HP Server PSUs didn't have like a 24 pin or 8 pin for power as these 450 watts do, right? So I was using both these 450 watts and a bunch of these server power supplies with, you know, typical older breakout boards. Actually, here are all the older ones, which I don't use anymore. So, and also actually CoolerMaster, I actually have a CoolerMaster 1200 watt on a 6x3070 rig. And so yeah, this CoolerMaster has been going for a good almost year and a couple months now. So I'm gonna have to say CoolerMaster so far is good, but again, I only have one. So in terms of statistics, I don't have 1,000, and I can't say if I had like a 5 or 10 or 30% failure rate. So take that with a grain of salt. Just to finalize the ATX power supplies, I just gotta say, like, yeah, I really love the modular style EVGA P2s, Corsair power supplies. And another great thing about the like EVGA P2s, what I really like, a lot of them have the 16 gauge AWG, like 16 gauge power cables. And so that helps a lot with capacity and also, you know, the heat, because if the cabling is really thin, they can get really hot, and that's how you burn the power supply or the cable ends or, you know, anything like that. If you use a lot of cheaper style power supplies, they'll have a lot thinner gauge cabling. And I guess that goes along with using splitters, right? I use these 8-pin to dual 8-pin splitters if I don't have enough PCIe cabling. But again, that is gonna really depend on the gauge and how much power and, you know, your undervolts and underclocks on your GPUs. You have to be mindful of when you're going to be using splitters like this. These are my favorite style PCIe splitters. Go check out gprisers.com or NerdGears. They'll sell 8-pin splitters like this. Okay, really good, strong PCIe cables to go with the 16 gauge style power supplies. Oh yeah, I don't have the rig here, but my 3060 Ti rig with two 850 watts, those CoolerMaster power supplies actually have 16 gauge, all right? They're 850 watt gold rated, but they have 16 gauge PCIe cabling. I thought that was really cool. So that's a great new option for if you guys are gonna be getting into GPU mining now. It's a nice touch that they advertise that on CoolerMaster on their product page for the power supply. And yeah, I think these are probably the best options, one of the best options for GPU mining, because they're easily attainable. You can buy it on Amazon or Best Buy or, you know, Micro Center. You just go to any store and you can easily buy, you know, these types of power supplies. Right now, well, as of making this video, they're not cheap, obviously. They're really expensive because it's been profitable for mining, right? So the power supply prices have gone up a lot. But in terms of reliability, I think the ATX power supplies are a great option, and you have warranty in case they die or anything like that. So I think ATX power supplies are definitely at the top for GPU mining. Okay guys, let's go on to the next power supply category, and that's gonna be the server style power supplies. And actually, let's do a giveaway, guys. Let's do a giveaway. I wanna give away this Superflower 1200 watt LED X2 Gold rated power supply, okay? This is gonna go to a lucky winner. This is brand new, and how you guys participate is simply comment down below in this video which power supply that you like, okay, and give me the reasons why. All right, and if you're in USA or Canada or even EU. So again, 3 requirements. Comment down below which power supply you like for mining and why, and if you're in USA, Canada, or EU. Okay guys? And I will do the draw 8 hours after this video is uploaded with Comment Picker. All right guys? So get your comments down below. So it'll go to a lucky viewer who watches my videos, you know, right away type of thing. Okay, on to the server PSUs here. Now, I'm gonna have to say as well, along with, you know, the ATX power supplies, I think server style power supplies like this, HP Server PSUs, like specifically the ones from like Parallel Miner. I've had great experience with these power supplies over the past year. And you know, they have the ZSX Amp Edition breakout boards, which have the 24-pin and the 8-pin CPU for the motherboard. That has happened, I think, more so last year in 2021, and I have a lot of these, okay? I have made a lot of mining rigs with these type of breakout boards with the HP Server PSUs, like 1200 watt Platinum. Really great efficiency, and I can show you guys most of my mining rigs are utilizing them, okay, with those breakout boards. I have a lot of my 30 series mining rigs here with the server style PSUs, okay, so this one's even using an HP Server PSU. Got another one here. I got, like, a lot of them use two of them as well. Like for my 3080 rigs, I'm using two HP Server PSUs, like the 1500 watts actually, with the Parallel Miner X11 breakout board, and I got another one over here with the ZSX Amp Edition board here. So really great option, right? Instead of using like a small 450 watt power supply, ATX power supply, which I explained earlier, and then just using one of these to split off into the GPUs. For me personally, with these server style PSUs, they're very easy, like very modular in a way, because they have a lot of PCIe connections and you don't need to utilize any splitters or anything like that. So you're gonna have safe power draw, efficient power draw coming from, I guess, the breakout board, the HP Server PSUs. There's 750 watts as well. I haven't personally used 750 watts that much, but I have more so gone with the 1500 watts and the 1200 watts for a lot of my mining rigs, and I've had no issues. I've literally had zero of these server power supplies die, because these are for server grade, you know, enterprise grade applications, and these are utilized for 24-hour, 365, you know, utilization and just being on, you know, all the time. And yeah, these are just extremely great for mining. The prices for these, you know, 1200 watts, you know, in the past year hasn't been that cheap. It was a lot cheaper during the bear market if you can get your hands on these. For me, I bought these like, I think a year and a half ago. I got like 20 of these for like $42 each on Alibaba. But when it comes to the, you know, ZSX Amp Edition boards from Parallel Miner, I had to pay a pretty penny for these. These are not cheap right now. More so, I guess, in the bull runs, things cost a lot more, right? I mean, that's a given. Even with the ATX power supplies or anything in general, it's really expensive. But just to clarify, I think these types of power supplies for mining, server power supplies, are definitely one of the best options for mining, very reliable. Now, some people may not like the sound output coming from the server power supplies. They can get pretty loud because these are like little tiny fans and they have like a high pitch whine. So if sound is a concern for you, then I would probably then go for ATX power supplies, because they have 120 mil fans. They're much quieter than these HP Server PSUs, depending if you are going to be putting a massive load on these power supplies. So if they are getting hot, you're using a high load on these, the fans are going to wind up and it's going to get really loud. So that's one drawback, but ultimately, if you're in a place where sound doesn't really matter, then it's no problem. I think these are really good, super efficient, great for mining, 24/7, 365, no issues. I can safely say I've had like 50 of these and have had no issues with these power supplies. Though there is one server power supply which I'm getting kind of tilted just talking about it right now, is the 2400 watt Delta. Now, personally, I've only had one of these, and I had a really bad experience because I don't know, for those that have been with my channel for about 2 years, I don't know, some of you guys know that I've had Radeon 7s, and I was running Radeon 7s, and 4 of my Radeon 7s died. Now, I know it's probably not because of the power supply, it's just because the Radeon 7s are just very sensitive GPUs, where the GPU die and memory are in one, and so those Radeon 7s have been prone to die very easily for some reason. Anyways, guys, that's my experience with the HP Server PSUs. I think these are definitely my top favorite, along with, you know, EVGA P2s, power supply, ATX power supplies for mining. These are really great. I highly recommend it. Finally, I want to end off with the Alibaba or Aliexpress style power supplies, okay? So these are like ATX style power supplies, okay? They're not like the server style, but they come with a lot of PCIe cabling, okay? So for example, I have a Thermaltake 2000 watt, and actually I have a server case. Is a Rosewell L4000C or L4000B, one of those cases. And I used to have 8 RX 580s in here, and also I used to have 6 Vega 56s, and I was utilizing a 2000 watt Thermaltake Tough Power. This is from Alibaba, and this was a power supply I utilized for those mining rigs. And to be honest, I had great experience. They were extremely cheap. Like I bought like 4 of these for like 48 bucks or something on Alibaba like a year and a half or 2 years ago. And honestly, they were great because they had 8 different PCIe strands, and each strand had a daisy chained 8-pin. Okay, so it had basically 8 times 2 has 16 different PCIe cabling for the GPUs, which was totally great. I did though have to use splitters in order to power the risers with PCIe. So it was safe to run one strand with a splitter off into the riser and then having the 2 PCIe into the GPU. But that only depends on the power that you're going to be drawing, that you know that you will be drawing from the GPUs. So that's one thing to be mindful of with these, you know, high capacity power supplies. And another thing is you have to run these on 180 volt to 240 volt. And so of course I had them run on my PDUs, right? Really high capacity, 240 volt, 30 amp. So you can't run these types of power supplies on a typical 110, 120 volt, you know, 15 amp plug, 15 amp circuit, as these can only go up to about, if you do the math, you know, 110 or 120 times 15 amps, that'll give you max capacity of about 1800 watts. But you want to stay under the 80% rule, which is about 1440 watts, I believe, 1500 watts. And so if you're going to go 240 volts, which I highly recommend, you're going to get a lot more capacity. So if you do the math, 240 times 30 amp, you'll get about 7200 watts. But 80%, that's going to be about 5700 watts around there. So I have not had like thousands or hundreds of these types of power supplies, okay? So I can't say if there is a high failure rate for these types of power supplies because they were so cheap. They did the job. These are gold rated power supplies. These are not as efficient as, let's say, yeah, of course, the server power supplies, the platinum rated ones, or maybe the platinum rated ATX power supplies. I think going this way feels a lot more cheaper. The cabling, just the style of these power supplies, it just feels cheap. And so I'm gonna have to say this is not my favorite way for powering GPUs. It just doesn't feel good knowing that, you know, these are, you know, Aliexpress, Alibaba. Why were they so cheap? Like 42, 48 bucks. But again, right? These Bitcoin style power supplies, very cheap. I don't know if I could recommend these to anybody. And then there is one like server ATX power supply, I guess it's not server, this mining expert mining cave power supply. It has 6-pin power for risers. Now this 1600 watt has enough PCIe for 6 GPUs, and then it also has the dedicated 6 pins for the risers. I've had experience now with a lot of these. You guys know in my crypto mining garage, I have a bunch of these 2000 watts actually, not the 1600 watt, but 2000 watt. I've had no issues as I'm running those on 240 volts, as you guys know, on my PDUs, and they've been great. I've had no issues with those. I'm thinking though, these power supplies were made, they're made in China. Actually, let's be honest, everything here is made in China, right? Even the ATX power supplies, probably, maybe in Taiwan for EVGA, maybe some of them are different. But I've had good experience with the mining cave power supplies. So thanks to them, they sent me this one. I haven't utilized the 1600 watt, but hey, maybe you know what? Maybe I'll give this away. You know, I'm also giving away that 1200 watt. You know what? I'm gonna choose 2 winners, all right? Another winner is gonna get this 1600 watt power supply. Okay, so in 8 hours I will choose 2 winners for the 1200 watt and this 1600 watt. So guys, good luck. If you watch the end of this video, let me know. All right, let me know in the comments. Edit your comment, because if you already edited your comment with the 1200 watt one, then hopefully someone will also win this 1600 watt. So just to conclude this whole power supply experience video, I just want to say that, guys, my end all be all power supplies is going to be either the ATX ones or the server power supply ones, okay? And mainly for the ATX ones, it's going to be the EVGA P2s or any of the Corsair ones. I think these are great power supplies for GPU mining. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Enjoy the giveaway, and I'll choose the winner in 8 hours. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate everyone for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know again in the comments when you guys are gonna win for the giveaway. Comment down below which power supply that you guys like and why. Let me know if you're in Canada, USA, or EU, and I will reply to your comment in about 8 hours if you have won. All right, my friends, thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Good luck, have a good one, and peace out.